Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Welcome to Data Blitz. I hope you're all well and safe and enjoying a great day today. We have 6 speakers today. So without further ado, I will invite Dr. Ram Ray.
So good afternoon, everybody. I am Ram Ray from College of Agriculture and Human Science. So before I go further, I would like to introduce myself professionally. I have a bachelor in civil engineering, a master in soil science, and PhD in civil engineering. Why I'm saying that, because when I'm working at College of Agriculture in Human Science, most of my colleagues, when I got the introduction, I say, "Oh, you are working College of Agriculture? Why? How do you do that? And why it is so?" So that's why I'm trying to say. When I started to work in College of Agriculture and Human Science in 2013 as a research scientist, and I'm working on the Natural Resource and Environmental Science group. So even background in civil engineering, a professional engineer in Texas, but water resource, environmental science, and natural resource. Those are all very closely connected. So even I'm a professional civil engineering background, but my expertise are very much water resource management, soil health and water quality, climate change, carbon sequestration, remote sensing, hydrologic modeling, and precision agriculture. So currently I'm working on the projects that are mostly water resource management. It doesn't have to be agriculture only. So I'm working in groundwater resource, flood, disaster management, natural disaster, soil health, soil and water quality, and also climate change impact on water resource and water quality, soil health, and also using the instrumentation like a heavily equipmented field work, field analysis, and satellite data to address some of the issues that agriculture, water resource, and also climate change, drought that we're facing not only Texas, but not only the USA, but at the global scale all over the world. So my research interest, as I have listed here, because we have given one slide, so I'm just talking how we can collaborate. So not going any deep on any research specific topics, but I would like to say something that we can collaborate. That's, I think, purpose of this presentation. So water resource hydrology, eco-hydrology, remote sensing, soil carbon sequestration, field instrumentation, in situ data analysis and measurements. Those are my specific targeted and major research area. Currently, we have 200 projects that's from USDA. One is MPI, another is my co-PI, which is also, you can see the by title here, integrated approach to study the impact of climate change on agriculture and water quality. And this is just started, but I'm getting 1 year delay, so still a lot of opportunity in collaboration. In my understanding, collaboration doesn't have to start always to writing a proposal together, but it's to a way advanced, it should be started to work in collaboration. For example, I'm going to talk in a minute. So the basic idea is here, I have developed a research test bed. You can see on the right side of figure, which is heavily equipped with the AD covariance flux tower. So this is basically measuring automated all of those energy component, water component, and climate component. On top of that, we have carbon analyzer, also methane analyzer. I'm going to put in this summer if everything should get better, and also the evapotranspiration. and all of those ground sensors like soil moisture, soil temperature, soil capacity, soil heat capacity. Those are all measured and installed here in this test bed. You can see the other right figure here. In addition, we are also working on to have a GPR, like a ground penetrant radar. I remember the last presentation, Dr. Alam has talking about the geophysical investigation, which is basically very interesting to me, and I'm also doing the same type of work, even we are in two different colleges and departments, so I can see the potential opportunity for collaboration here. And also I have a EM38, and you can see a lot of carbon sensors, soil moisture sensor has been installed in the field. In this summer, I'm also going to install, if given the opportunity, things get better, to install the multi-16 automated soil moisture, soil carbon sensors to monitor the soil health and carbon sequestration or carbon emissions from the soil. So being said that, I see the potential opportunity, and I would like to have all of the other new faculty. I am already working many of the senior faculty throughout the many colleges, College of Engineering, College of Education, College of Business, but I would like to encourage any of other colleagues who have recently joined. So it is always our doors open. Either I am going to invite you or you can invite me to talk and interact further in details. Also, I put here one link because I was thinking it's a good platform. If you have any of these working, anything related with satellite or remote sensing or any sensing, please have, I would like to have your articles or manuscripts submitted in the remote sensing journal, which I am a guest editor. Being said that, and most importantly, I wanted to share that College of Agriculture and Human Science, maybe other colleagues will be talking more, but we have all of those facilities, sensing technologies, and some tools available that we can work together, no matter you are from College of Business, College of Engineering, or Biology, or Department of Chemistry, or Chemical Engineering. A lot of things can be, we work together in advance. It's supposed not to have a grant writing, but also we can work in project. So I would like to welcome to have any of you to come and join my research test bed to put your sensors or to collect some data. I'll be happy to assist and ask and answer any questions you have, and we can work together in long term. So being said that, I would like to stop my presentation here. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Ray, very much for your presentation. So without much further delay, I will invite our next speaker. This is Dr. Katina Thomas. Dr. Thomas, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Please proceed.
I am Katina Thomas, and I appreciate this opportunity to present my research interests, past accomplishments, and future endeavors. And I open anyone that's interested in the topic and the concepts that I'm exploring to please contact me. I'm open for collaboration. To give you a little bit of background about myself, like my colleagues have done, I received my Bachelor's of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies from Prairie View A&M University. So I am an alumna of the institution and also from the program that I'm currently teaching in. I'm currently Assistant Professor of Literacy Education in the College of Education, and I work in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction in teacher preparation. Once I received my Bachelor's of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies, I also earned my Master's of Education in Administration and Supervision, as well as my Doctorate of Education in Curriculum and Instruction from the University of Houston. I've had the opportunity to work in K-12 public education in the roles of classroom teacher as well as English as a second language instructional coach and lead teacher. Once I entered higher education, I had the opportunity to work with pre-service teachers and teacher preparation programs across multiple institutions in the role of student teaching supervisor, visiting professor, lecturer, as well as student teaching coordinator, assistant professor of literacy education, curriculum and instruction, and currently I'm here at Prairie View A&M. This is where I've landed, so it's a full circle moment for me. My past research activities have been related to my primary interest of culturally relevant and culturally responsive instructional practices, and it's in relationship to preparation and with teachers, as well as being able to look at the outcomes of teaching practices in literacy education, not only on the students that are involved, but also the teachers. So my interest is surrounding all stakeholders that are responsible for education, are responsible for the education of everyone involved. And I've narrowed it to cultural relevance and responsiveness because this is a concept and topic that is still considered abstract in most areas and needs further investigation to dive into the value of it and how it impacts other aspects of educating students and for growth as teacher leaders and teachers. So previously, I've had papers, presentations, and publications about the results and implications of cultural relevant and responsive practices in students that are younger in the early literacy grades where early literacy development occurs. And I've specifically explored how that impacts African American learners in early literacy. And with my primary study, it was primarily males. It was mainly males because there's been found to be a student performance gap in reading between African American males and their counterparts and across subgroups. So with those results, what I found out is that there can be growth in non-traditional classrooms and non-traditional structures, and I have that outlined on figure 1 on my slide, how I compared the effects of a non-traditional classroom and literacy instruction with these particular students and how it impacted their growth and whether it would achieve closing the literacy gap that's being reported across the nation. I've also had the opportunity to publish with that on the national and international level across journals in education, and currently I have a book chapter that is going to outline specific dimensions that are needed in the classroom to impact students in early literacy, primarily African American learners. I've had the opportunity to take a look at teacher preparation and pre-service teachers, are those students that are studying to become teachers and become credentialed and certified. And I've had the opportunity to publish and discuss particular strategies that are needed to enhance their retention rate to help them be able to establish a foundation that will assist them in being able to become more successful with our students. So because of those particular achievements or goals that I've reached with the research and what I've gathered and the data and what I've reported, as a result of that, that leads me to my research interest that's below, where I'd like to explore and investigate how culturally relevant and responsive practices impact the standardized assessment of now African American females, as well as all African American learners, not only in a non-traditional, but also in a traditional classroom setting. So what will happen if we actively employ culturally relevant and responsive practices that theorists and researchers have reported amongst the data? I'm also interested in developing a culturally relevant and responsive teaching instrument based on the 5 teaching assumptions established by Geneva Gay to determine if and how in-service teachers' preparation, teachers' perceptions of culture impact their instructional delivery and student performance. So my interest is cultural relevance and responsiveness, not only in literacy education, but across all education and with all stakeholders that are involved. So I'm open to collaborating with anyone that has that interest, because the impact of the data collected and what's disaggregated and what's discovered in findings can impact across and beyond more than just education, but across all human sciences, into areas of STEM, into all levels of teaching that may be applicable to be able to bridge the gaps in student performance across subgroups. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Again, thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Na Li.
So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm Dr. Na Li, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science. And I hope everyone is staying well in this special situation. I really appreciate the effort from the Office of Research on encouraging and supporting the collaboration among PV faculty through these kind of online presentations. So my research and education areas focus on cybersecurity, information privacy, wireless sensor networks, computer science education, and women in computing. So I have been working years in the field of cybersecurity, particularly focusing on information privacy. Privacy protection is different from our traditional security. In terms of security, we can use cryptography and to encrypt and decrypt our data so that the data content can be secured. However, information privacy is defined as any information the owner is not willing to share with others. Different people may have different privacy preferences. For example, one person doesn't care about sharing his age, but the other person may really care about it. So the age information is not private to the first person, but it's private to the second person. Another example is a person is communicating to another person digitally, and the communication data can be encrypted, so the attacker will not be able to see the content. However, if the attacker is able to identify who is talking without knowing the communication content, and if such information is considered private by the communicating two parties, the attacker successfully compromises their privacy. So through these two examples, you can see privacy is different from the traditional security concepts. So protecting information privacy becomes quite challenging in recent years with the emerging of web technologies and smart devices. A large number of data is actually being collected from people's online activities. Those data contain tremendous amount of private information of people. So people sometimes think that's their data, but actually once the data is collected online, and that's not their data anymore. So my current research activities include investigating privacy attacks and defense technologies in networks and computing. For example, privacy protection in online social networks. Online social network has a huge amount of data, including metadata, location information, image data, which contains very rich information about people's personal life. So a lot of information, people may not want to share them. So additionally, I'm also interested in privacy protection in the Internet of Things, and which has a lot of smart devices like sensors. That's why we have a smart home and smart city. The security and privacy issues are critical in the Internet of Things because the data is collected by the sensors and smart devices from people who may wear them. If people's private information cannot be protected, they may not want to participate in the network. So that will cause problems. I'm also researching in how to effectively educate our younger generations on information privacy. So far, we haven't seen well-established materials which are ready to use to teach them. For graduate students, probably we can ask them to study the research papers and make presentations. However, for undergraduate students, I think they need more engaging approaches in the learning process. That's why we design hands-on labs. So the challenge here is we don't have a lot of lab tools we can use, like the physics labs. So what we are doing is we are developing our own labware, which include web applications, smartphone applications, or even data analysis approaches to help students learn the concepts. Our current project is sponsored by National Science Foundation. In this project, we develop self-contained modules as displayed in the slide. You can, on the right-hand side, you can see under the privacy topic, we developed several modules self-contained for different topics like data privacy, web privacy, network, social media, IoT, location privacy, cloud computing, healthcare, and surveillance. And we also develop our own hands-on labs. And one lab may be used for different modules. One module may contain several labs. In this way, our students will be able to learn not only the concepts, but also they will be able to gain some hands-on activities. Actually, this semester, I'm teaching a new course I developed. It's called Information Privacy in the Department of Computer Science. And students are very interested in the course and hands-on activities. So even though this is the first time and we teach it, and I think it's a big success. Now actually, because of the big data, collected online, so we are thinking how to apply the AI learning, like machine learning and deep learning, to process the data and integrate those technologies into the cybersecurity learning, like privacy protection and location protection, that kind of problems. And also in our current project, the NSF project, and we are thinking to extend the topic. This diagram was proposed when we wrote the proposal, but now because more new technologies are coming out, we are working on extending it. If anyone who is interested in this topic, information privacy, please feel free to reach out to me, and we will be happy, to see all kinds of collaboration opportunities. And also, you can see this kind of education research has also the technical part. So that's why, and we will be happy to see any the technical contributions which can be integrated into our project. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Appreciate your presentation. By the way, the Data Blitz is open to everyone. In fact, some of these lectures or short presentations can be enjoyed and can be useful even to your children or household members. So please feel free to attend. Last time I had a question whether I am in the right place, but no, everybody is welcome. You can invite a friend, share with your household members. So again, Dr. Na Lee is available for collaboration. As you know, cybersecurity is so important. I am aware of some collaborative projects being carried out between computer science and juvenile justice and psychology college. So it pervades almost every discipline. So please contact Dr. Na Lee if you have a project which would require any digital security. Thank you, Dr. Na Lee.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Dr. Nabila Shamim. Dr. Shamim,
Yes, I'm here.
please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I would like to thank you and Office of Research for giving us the opportunity to actually share our research projects, ongoing projects, and the projects that we would like to do, and have some potential collaboration with the whole university. That would be really good. So before moving into my project descriptions, I would like to give a little bit background about myself. So I am Nabila Shamim. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering. And I did my PhD on nanomaterials and application of nanomaterials in separation processes. And then I actually moved to US. My PhD is from National University of Singapore. After that, I moved to Texas Tech University, where I did my postdoctoral fellowship, where I have developed my expertise on polymer rheology and thermal properties of polymeric films and complex materials. So after joining PVAMU University, I started my projects. So, and currently I am focusing on two main things. One is actually working with polymeric fibers, and the other one is studying the thermal properties of materials. So on that point, I just want to share some of my research projects that is already shown on the slides. My focus is fabricating nanofibers and for membrane separation and also for tissue engineering. So what we have seen like there is a lot of issues of oil contamination, and because of those oil contamination, there are always catastrophic disaster in the marine and aquatic systems. Usually the conventional methods that we use for the separation processes, those are like coagulation, flocculation, those have some shortcomings like low efficiency, then they have cumbersome huge equipments, and it also causes some pollutants. So more of the research is focusing on making some very high efficient absorbents. For those purposes, we are using like carbon nanotube sponges, fibers, and for potential oil separators, water separators. So what we look for the absorbents are that it should actually be able to clean the oil spill, it should have high hydrophobicity, and it should also have a high uptake capacity. So considering those issues, our goal was to prepare hydrophobic fibers, nanofibers, that will be like, low cost, very easy to produce, and it should also be very simple preparation methods. So the images shows the top three SEM images that we have done here, the fibers that is being fabricated by using electrospinning method. So what we used here, we used electrospinning method, and this is actually a self-built electrospinning method. We used our polymer solutions, and we make a homogeneous solution. And then we used a high voltage on our needles where it is coming out. And then there was a ground collector, aluminum coated collector, where we collected our fibers. After we got our fibers, we actually went through some characterization techniques. So some of them results are shown here. However, we did face some of the issues. Those are like the beads form, polystyrene forms some beads, and we do not want the beads. So we did some changes on our precursor solutions, and finally we were able to get nice strings, although there are some small beads there. Then these fibers are highly hydrophobic. So to test it out, we did some contact angle measurement, and it does show that the water actually kind of rolls over on the polymer membrane. However, we are still looking for some, equipments that is not available, like, so we can actually measure the contact angles and study as we increase the concentration, how the contact angle changes. So some more detailed studies on the fibers. Then we are also having some modification of the fibers by adding some magnetic nanoparticles, because I worked with magnetic nanoparticles during my PhD. So we synthesized some magnetic nanoparticles, and we'll be incorporating the magnetic nanoparticles with the fibers for making it more hydrophobic and more versatile for the applications. And then what we have used, the same method that we are actually using to make the polystyrene nanofibers, we would also like to use the same electrospinning method to prepare another scaffold for tissue engineering. So this project, the polystyrene nanofiber project, is done with a graduate student. So she's still working on this, and she will be studying, she's working on to study the oil uptake issues. But some undergraduate students, they are actually working on the PCL nanofibers. So PCL is a biocompatible material, and this one we were trying to make fibers that can be replacing ACL, because usually most of the cases athletes has a huge injury on the ACL. So this fibers is going to be used as a replacement of the ACLs. However, the issues that we are facing right now, the mechanical strength of these fibers. The mechanical strength, the PCL fibers are not as high as the actual ACL. So we are actually thinking of using it as just as a healing process. So during the healing process, if we can put on the knees, and then if as the cell grows, it will be all okay. So it's going to be like healing process with some braces around the knees. So right now I do not work with the cell growth part. My focus is mainly on material science and how to fabricate materials. So it would be good if we can have some collaboration where we can do some biological studies, some cell growth on those fibers, and look into more detail on that part. The third project I wanted to discuss is the last image on the slide that shows the thermal properties of some polymeric materials. So the first image is actually on the glass transition temperature. So this work was actually started when I was at my postdoctoral work, and we actually studied the glass transition temperature of nanofilms. So these films are like, the lowest one is actually 22 nanometer. So we have studied the glass transition temperature as a function of cooling rate. So this is the process of how we are making the materials. And we have observed there is a huge decrease in the glass transition temperature when the material goes from the bulk state to the nanoscale. And then we also actually looked into some of the more complex and energetic material, that is actually TNT, trinitrotoluene. So most of us think TNT is a crystalline material, but when we have crystal structure, there are some defects, and those defects actually create some stress concentrators, and that creates hot spots. So for energetic material, one of the biggest issue is to keep it more stable, not like, have some hot spot and it starts to go for detonation. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to study at a very fast cooling rate. So what we did, we went up to 4,000 Kelvin per second cooling rate, and we were trying to avoid the crystallization process. So we were able to avoid crystallization process and make more amorphous glass that is actually more stable state of the material. So right now I'm focusing on, so this work was done, initiated over there, and I already have some publications on using that instrument and also studying the glassy materials. However, now I would like to more focus on this type of energetic or like more active materials, and we'd like to make a process where we can make more stable materials that can be actually used in different applications. So it would be really good if we can get some collaboration, and I'll be happy to talk if someone is interested on this project and go for some collaborations. So this is actually all what I have. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, we can have a text message, we can talk more. Thank you so much.
I hope biologists and chemists among the participants can get in touch with you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Tamika Baldwin-Clark. Dr. Baldwin-Clark?
Yes, hello. Hi, Dr. Krish. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Tamika Baldwin-Clark. I go by Dr. Clark. I'm an assistant professor of social work in the Division of Social Work, Behavioral and Political Sciences in the Brailsford College of Arts and Sciences. I began teaching at PV in January of 2019, so I've been here over a year now. I teach the courses in social welfare policy, as well as social work with children and families. I received my Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology from the University of Michigan, my Master's of Social Work from Michigan State University, and my PhD in Social Work from Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. I've been practicing social work for a little over a decade now. I've practiced both in the US as well as abroad. I worked as a social worker in London, England for about 6 months. I've also studied abroad in different countries like Mexico, Ghana, as well as China. I am also, in addition to being a licensed clinical social work supervisor, I'm also a licensed chemical dependency counselor. And I'm also an editorial board member for the Journal of Mental Health and Social Behavior. And I've been a judge and abstract viewer for PV's annual research symposium as well. My general areas of interest are gerontology, mental health, substance use, and child welfare. I have experience in all of those different areas of social work. And I'm looking for collaborations in different topics such as health disparities, the art of pedagogy, evaluating policies that disproportionately and negatively affect people of color, incorporating more technological tools and resources in the classroom settings, as well as different social justice topics related to people of color. So my current research agenda is I'm working on expanding different areas of my dissertation. And that was related to factors related to depression among older African-American women. And so I completed a secondary analysis using data from the University of Michigan's Health and Retirement Study, which is a longitudinal study. So I looked at the following factors. Some of them are listed in my table on my slide. Those factors included age, social support, religion, caregiving, and physical health. So only 3 of those 5 factors were considered to have significant relationships with depression. And they were age, social support, and physical health. So caregiving and religion were considered as protective factors among that population that I looked at. And so I'm currently working, I have one journal article that I published from my dissertation, but I'm also looking at publishing other articles. I'm working with a colleague to get more of my articles published from my dissertation. And I have an article under review with the University of Houston's Perspectives on Social Work Journal, which is through their Graduate College of Social Work. And that's related to substance use and misuse among the baby boomer population. Also, I'm working on a book chapter related to health disparities among Black women. And I'm doing that with my colleague who's also presenting, Tiffany Thomas, today.
Hey.
Hey. Again, just to wrap it up, I'm interested in collaborating on social justice topics related to people of color, health disparities, the art of pedagogy, evaluating policies that disproportionately and negatively affect people of color. And also I'm interested in incorporating more technological tools and resources in the classroom setting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Like educational aspect, NSF, particularly these days, invites proposals for programs that combines both STEM and social sciences. So STEM researchers, please take note of a vast knowledge that is readily available on campus here. So I hope you contact Dr. Clark when you write any proposals in response to NSF announcements. I hope the contact is going to be useful for Dr. Clark as well. Thank you.
Thank you again. Yes, thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Tiffany Thomas.
Hello, everybody. Chris, are we going to do the video, or are we going to just show the photo? Do I need to explain the photo? Just so
I have the video here.
So we're talking to the people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well then we'll do that at the end. We'll do that at the end.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So I'll get started because we only have 8 minutes. My name is Tiffany Thomas. I'm an assistant professor in the Masters of Community Development program in the School of Architecture. What's so special about our program is that we're the only historically Black college and university with an MCD program, and we're the only institution in the state of Texas with the Masters of Community Development. Our peer institution is Detroit Mercy. So we are actually celebrating 20 years of community development. 2020 is our 20th year. So in 2000, we enrolled our first cohort of students. So my research interest, the primary one is community development education, particularly for historically Black colleges and university. I research within the framework that HBCUs are in prime position to advance community development education, particularly because HBCUs are situated in place either in town and gown cities, rural areas, or in urban areas. In HBCUs, we can leverage the resources and the training of our faculty, the energy and innovation of our students, and our research efforts in order to directly impact income limited neighborhoods, Black neighborhoods, rural neighborhoods, ... Secondly, I'm interested in campus and community relations, and the video that I will show at the end really highlights some of the student research service learning center work that we do within our program with the campus and the community. I'm focused on citizen-led community development, better known as asset-based community development, where it allows the people to make decisions about themselves and what they want in their neighborhood. And it goes from a deficiency model of what our neighborhood does not have, the resources we don't have, to identifying the assets, cultural assets. What are the things that we define in our community and our culture of value? Cities and community development models, interested in how cities and municipalities are implementing community development enhancement tools, if that's housing, economic development, small business development, transportation, equity, access, healthcare, are always included within that group. Affordable housing as well. And I have an emerging research interest in Black elected officials and community development, particularly Black elected officials that represent Black neighborhoods. Some of my selected publications, and my colleague mentioned one that's in progress right now, but enhancing community development education at HBCUs, that's currently in review with the International Journal of Community Wellbeing, which is a special edition. The community engagement at Piney Point, which I'm going to highlight some of our work with this video. Piney Point is one of Houston's forgotten freedmen towns. It's a remnant of a freed colony. And enhancing community education through community-based participatory research. We really engage our students in working in collaboration and tandem with community members. So it's an and in both to support community members with language and context and their interests and their values. And so some selected funding, and there's some other ones that's pending. I received a couple of faculty innovation and enhancement grants to support my work, microfinance from USDA and NEFA. Currently what's in progress, there's a submission to the USDA NEFA to explore and investigate the accreditation of graduate community development programs. And so between Western Virginia, Arizona State, and Prairie View, we submitted that, and we should be hearing something fairly soon. I am a reviewer for NEFA for one of their programs, and I often do peer review for the Community Development Society Conference and the national, I mentioned NEFA, and I'm on the board for the Local Development and Society Journal. And so we have a short video, so let me explain the photo. So we, with the microfunding from NEFA, the proposal was to work with Piney Point, which is a remnant of a freedom colony, slave colony in Houston, which is not necessarily documented through historical preservation. And so the microfunds created community engagement opportunities for this community to identify their priority, which centered around quality of life for seniors, food insecurity and access, flooding, and public safety. And so the photo is just some of our students. And let me mention this, we have a very interdisciplinary program. So we have students from an architecture background. We have business students that come with us with the finance undergrad. We have history students, social work, sociology. And because we're an interdisciplinary program, every background benefits the classroom and the impact in the community. So those are some of our students working with the elders in the community around their flooding issues. And you can hit the video, and this is some testimonies from our students.
It's a subdivision in Piney Point, and we just want to see what their concerns are, what they're worried about in their neighborhood, what they want fixed, what they want to see, what's new. So we're excited. People are walking in right now. We got a couple gentlemen in here. We got coffee, food, everything. So it should be a good day.
I'm Jamila, and I'm expecting it to be a really great turnout. I'm expecting to hear some great feedback and to make some progressive moves with what we received today.
So my expectations for today is that we're basically able to kind of figure out how the residents see everything and what they expect of their community, and basically try to bridge the gap between what they grew up on and how we can correlate it to what we can add and invest in the community today.
Walking down the street, they didn't have the lights and all the speeding that was happening in the neighborhood. Parking on Daffodil, Buttercup, during the storm, so that's important again with seniors, there's no interruption, because if you're diabetic, you have medication, and the power goes out, hundreds of dollars that they do. Yay! So that's our program. And so we also have GIS component. We're integrating a lot of data-driven work around that. We're doing a ground truthing. So if you are just such a close the loop on my research areas and how we can collaborate, if you're interested, or there's grant funding around community engagement, our program is well positioned for that. If you are interested in campus or community relationships, community development, neighborhoods, particularly around COVID and looking at the underserved neighborhoods in the response to public health, any of those things, then please consider myself and our program as a partner.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
All I got.
For a very engaging presentation. You are a great resourceful person for multidisciplinary collaboration. I hope participants take note of that. So we have come to the conclusion of the session. Thank you all, both presenters and participants. I look forward to seeing more of you. Next time, tell a colleague of yours, because there is a wealth of information that is shared in these sessions. So stay safe. Goodbye now.